Namaste, Jai Gurudev. This is Sunil Sunkara from the Art of Living Academy of Performing Arts, and I welcome you to Connecting to the Notes. In the Natya Shastra, Bharat Muni has made Shiva
Namaskar.
as the god of Bhibhatsa or the rasa which connects with disgust. At the same time, Shiva is Satyam Shivam Sundaram, truth, beauty, auspiciousness. So I invite today Dr. Manikantan Menon, Sundaranana himself. One of his most famous compositions is on that beauty of Shiva, and he himself has that beautiful persona. And my first question to you, Mani Anna, is what is beauty? Because if Shiva can be beauty in Bhibhatsa and Shiva can be beauty in Raudra, how do you perceive this beauty and this Saundarya?
Let's go to the famous, saying, beauty in the eyes of the beholder. It is close to the spiritual truth about beauty. Beauty is not in the thing that we see as an object. If there is no beauty in you, you will never perceive beauty in anything outside. For example, I'll give you a real life example. You just heard a shocking news about somebody's some accident or somebody so close to you, they met with an accident or something bad like that, and then you are having a flower in your hand and you are enjoying the beauty of the flower in the hand, and the moment you hear the shocking news, the flower loses all its charm immediately, suddenly. Does it happen? So beauty is not in the flower, it's in the flower. Likewise, the beauty is there in this creation because it's a manifestation of the beauty, the beauty that is divine is beautiful. So if you can say this entire thing is a manifestation of the same beautiful divine divinity. Beauty is there in everything, but you miss to perceive or experience beauty if the beauty element in you is missing for some time, for a few moments at least. So I told you, like Sundaranana story, I have shared it in many hundreds of stages already, because it's a very inspiring, very eye-opening kind of a thing for me myself personally also. What it what happened was, Shiva in its physical appearance as depicted in a picture of Shiva by an artist. You can see Shiva is a, we say Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Satya hai ultimate truth. Truth is embodiment. Shiva is the representation of truth, beauty, and perfection, or what you call as consciousness. So Shiva is perfection also. But then, how do we depict Shiva in a form like that? It's not very beautiful. Blue color, and the ashes smeared. What ashes? That too from from the funeral pyre. The ashes smeared all around his body, and he didn't get anything to put around his neck other than the poisonous venomous snake, and the jata, and from the jatas, the whatever decorations, he didn't get any moti mala, something like that, to decorate his jata. It is Chandra, you know, uh, Balendu. Balendu is but like Bal Indu, the crescent.
Crescent moon.
So what can it be? Then I said, this is not fair. Shiva is not only Tandava. Tandava is also, if you look at my other song, next song that followed just after Sundaranana, Deva Manohara. Deva Manohara. I was not satisfied after making Sundaranana also. I was not actually satisfied by calling Shiva Sundar. So I wrote that Deva Manohara song again and went into a little depth of meditation. Dhyana Murti. Jnanamurti, Dhyanamurti, the third eye on his, this depicts the unseen inner eye that enables you to see, perceive the truth beyond the sight that you can perceive through your physical eyes. That is the meaning of the third eye. How can Shiva, he deserves a better treatment than this. So he or she, whatever it is, it deserves the consciousness, the energy. Then I said, like, that whole day, the thought was there in my mind, maybe for a couple of days or a week or a month or my whole year. Suddenly one day, just something started coming up. Sundaranana. Sundaranana. Anana in Sanskrit means face. That which is visible. The aspect of Shiva that we can look at in the aspect of Sundarta, the beauty. Sundaranana. So the song started coming up like Sundaranana. And again, Deva Manohara, I wrote Tandava Keli Nataraja. Tandava is also Keli. Keli in Sanskrit means play. So this entire creation, that which we see or experience through our senses, is just a play and display of the same consciousness. It is not just a symbol or anything like it is the consciousness that is Shiva is playing through whatever is happening, whatever you are able to perceive. So when you look at Shiva in that form, Shiva is all beauty. Nothing can be ugly, nothing can be unaesthetic. It's total aesthetics in Shiva that you can see there. To see that, you have to close your eyes. Not through these eyes you can perceive certain things. Like yesterday, Gurudev was saying in Narad Bhakti Sutra, English, part, he was saying there is love in rest and meditation. There is love in rest and meditation. So when you are settled and you are peaceful, that's when you see, love. You can experience love. And when you go to a temple, you go in front of whichever worship place it is, go in front of the idol or the shrine, you stand there, look, and your eyes are closed. So the beauty is inside. The love is inside of us. It's not outside. Outside is only a stimulus. All this is a stimuli of the same thing that we have inside. So if it doesn't connect us within ourselves, there is no purpose of this creation also. Why should one have a beautiful creation like this if we are not able to connect the same beauty within ourselves? So this is what I thought of when maybe the back of the, not as a thought, as a feeling in me in the making of Sundaranana. Bhasma Bhushita, like in spite of that, it is Sundaranana. Phala Netra, there is an unaesthetic organ right in the middle of the forehead. There is another eye, Phala Netra. Why should you have an eye like that? You could have whatever use you have. If it is just used to burn when you are angry, if it is just used to burn the enchanting Kamadev, the Lord of Love, there is no need, there is no purpose of having a third eye there. But that third eye, Phala Netra, Madana Mohana. Madan is that beauty. The aspect of Shiva consciousness is the Madana Mohana aspect. And Bhutanatha, you see all the Bhutakanas around him. They are also not depicted as beautiful beings. They're all like, in the pictures at least, you see Bhutaganas are not, very appealing to the eyes. But Bhut is not that Bhuta. Bhuta is There is nothing beyond the bhutas, the five bhutas, panchabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, and space. There is nothing beyond it. The entire universe, the galaxies, the Milky Way and the similar galaxies around, millions and billions and trillions of stars and suns and planets and whatnot, everything is made out of these five elements. There is no sixth element possible in the creation. The Lord of the Lord of this entire universe, that is Bhutanatha. It's not my knowledge. I heard from Gurudev after I composed this song. Gurudev has explained it to the rest the world. So I was also a student in those satsangs, and I was learning what it means. What it means. So then I realized it is not written by me. Actually, if I write it, I should know the meaning that is being shared by Gurudev. I never knew this has a meaning like this. But whatever come in me as the words, I put it in the rhythm and it becomes a song. That's what happened with Sundaranana also.
Thank you, Mani Bhaiya. So beautifully it is. I have heard in the Shabad it is said that Shabd Guru ka Shabd hai, Kaya ka Guru kai. Bhakti kare nit Shabd ki, Sadguru yo samjhaye. So though it were Gurudev's words, it was your Kaya that must have been selected for Sundaranana to manifest in all of us. A very popular composition amongst dancers, singers. We all love it. And when we think of Shiva, one of the beautiful forms of Shiva is the Nataraja Shiva, the dancing Shiva. And you spoke of Shiva being perfection. At the same time, his divine play in the Tandava. And a question that I have is coming from the world of dance, where for every dancer, Nataraja is the aim. We pray to the Nataraja. But at the same time, we focus a lot on the perfection in Indian classical dance. Every movement has to be taught and executed perfectly. And sometimes dancers do not manage to go beyond that perfection to get lost into the beauty. So I request you to give some advice as to
That's
how
a
we can
sad part.
be perfect and beautiful.
Perfection, it's like in Sanskrit it is siddhi, perfection. Siddhi means that which you have attained something, and there is perfection in every stage. And then Gurudev's words again: imperfection shows and perfection hides. Imperfections always show off, because that is how it is. Like your eyes can catch an imperfection easier than it can do with a perfect thing, perfection. So perfection also, how does it, everything is perfect. You cannot expect a chair to look like a table. So what is more perfect? A chair is also perfect, a table is also perfect. Completion. So, and that feeling of completion and perfection is not that external. It's all a vehicle, it's all a tool. Actually, sound and the music is also a tool to ourselves with the silence that is already there within. That is our real nature. Silence is the nature. In our real nature, when you go deep in samadhi, there are no thoughts. If there are no thoughts, nirvikalpa happens, then there is no words, there is no sound, no sense objects, no sense organs, nothing is there. So when you are not able to go beyond the perceivable things that music and art brings about, then there is no purpose of it also. I would rather call it as like useless art. If the art, the performance does not take the viewer or the audience, the experiencer beyond the performance, if the person is stuck with the performance level at the superficial level, then there is no purpose of doing it. So that way, I would call myself as a perfect singer. Though I am not perfect in my performance, may not be perfect in my performance at many times, human. And I'm not a professional singer that way, so I can make so many mistakes in the rendering. But the perfection is lying beyond that. If I'm becoming an instrument in the hands of the divine to connect the person to themselves and the divine, the same divine, then my role is perfectly done at that level. And if you are, the more our attention gets stuck to the imperfections in the superficial aspect, the more misery it brings to the performer. So this is what I have heard from Gurudev also when he was interacting with an actor. He said, whenever I do something, there are two difference of opinion, one of the interactions. Then he said, you once you do it, leave it, and then go forward, move forward, go across it. See, a signboard that says food served here is an indication for you to walk in that direction and get there. If you reach there, only then you will get food. If you wait at the signboard, thinking about the other aspects of the signboard and what it is and this and that, the discussion level, intellectual level, emotional level, then you will starve. So this starvation is what you are feeling when you see a lot of imperfection in a performance. So if you are able to 15 minutes, Sunil, please conclude the first part.
Maniana, you spoke about perfection being beauty, and now you're also giving us how imperfection can be beauty. And I think both connect with the bhava that you were talking about. That
Correct.
When beauty lies in the eye of the perceptor, at the same time, that bhava which is generated between the audience and the performer, or in the satsangi and the satsang. So my question to you is, do you feel different when you sing only for yourself and there is no one else around, and when you sing in a satsang with thousands of people around? Because artists sometimes struggle with this, of reaching that bhava when they are in a mood of performance, and finding that bhava when they are just dancing or performing for themselves. So could you give them some advice on this? How do you connect yourself in this bhava?
So I think I would rather I have moved in that direction. In the beginning, when I used to sing in front of one person, it was giving me a lot of, I become self-conscious, and my body temperature and my mind, the breath, everything matters. Everything shakes. Now I think I have graduated a little bit so that I can connect with myself when I'm sitting with people also, as if I'm not in front of another person. So if that happens, that means then I'm doing justice to my purpose. If that doesn't happen, you are not doing justice to yourself and the purpose of your performance. So finally, this is what matters. Like you said, if you are alone or if you are in a crowd, the yogi, the lakshana of a yogi in Bhagavad Gita also is said, like the one who feels that he is with everybody when he is sitting alone, and one who feels that he is alone being in the middle of a crowd, he is called a yogi. The purpose of music is yoga. And if it doesn't bring yoga to the performer, then what is the point in performing in front of other people? What are you providing for them? So the all the effort of a performer should be to achieve this. That when you are sitting alone, you are connected with the entire universe and the entire people, the whole people, everybody in the world. And when you are in the middle of the crowd, again, being in the middle of the crowd, you are connected with yourself, as if there is nothing other than you and you. So this happens easily. I'm fortunate that I have had maybe thousands of satsangs. I have been with people and singing almost every day in my life. So I consider it as a fortune in my life that I was not just made a singer. I was made a singer with a purpose,
Hmm.
and I think I'm in the best place to do it. You know. Jai
Thank
Gurudev.
you, Anna.
Namaste.
You have spoken today about how we can find perfection and imperfection both in the concept of beauty, and how we can connect with that emotion. And most importantly, I think what you ended with, finding that purpose. I think if every artist finds the purpose for that art, then that can go into that beautiful experience of Bhava, both for the artist and for the viewer. So thank you so much, Dr. Mani, for being here today and helping us connect with the notes within us. And I have one last question, or like a one liner which you could give us. So in music, I know the sa is very important. That the sa becomes the reference point for for the entire music to unfold. So, what is sa for life?
Love and joy, and connect with that. To connect with it, meditate. Don't go anywhere else searching for the sa is the Adhar. It is called Adhar Shadja. It is a connecting dot of all the other notations, all the other six notations. It is that is why it is called Adhara Shadja. 6 places it is generated from all the 6 places of wherever the sound is being produced in the body. So it is Adhara Shadja. And our Adhara is the joy and love that we are already. Find it, and that is the purpose actually.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the viewers watching us today. And we conclude with Mani Anna's beautiful thought: Sa is love. Hope to see you in the next episode of Connecting with the Notes. Jai Gurudev.